What is going on, you guys? It is your man Tyler James back again with another video, and today we're going to be breaking down the optimal training regimen for aesthetics. A couple days ago, I did make a video on aesthetic bulking and how you guys need to aesthetic bulk right before summer, and today I'm going to be breaking down fully how to actually achieve an aesthetic physique through your training regimen, okay? And there's basically two different ways. We're going to be breaking down today the split and the exercises that you need to be doing every single day, every single week, day after day, week after week, month after month. You want to look like someone who actually goes to the gym. You want to have an aesthetic physique. You want to have a physique that turns heads, but also that is going to be healthy, make you look happy, be more confident, be more attractive, and so you can live a healthy, happier, and longer life. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be breaking down in this video. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So the very first thing you must understand when it comes to the aesthetic training regimen is you need to have a plan in place. If you are going to the gym not knowing what to do, not knowing how to work out, not knowing how many days a week you're going to work out, and you are just showing up and winging it, you are planning to fail. You need to have a plan when it comes to the gym. You need to know what you're doing. The worst feeling is going to the gym and having all these people there, all these machines, all this equipment, all this stuff, and you have no idea what you are doing at all. That is the worst experience ever. And if that is you, odds are you're just going to walk right out of the gym because you have no idea what the hell you're doing. Okay. So you want to have a plan in place before you even step into the gym. So when you get there, you know what you're doing, you know how to do it, and then you execute on it and you see improvements, right? That is the best way to actually improve. For so long, I was just going in the gym and winging it, right? Just doing whatever came to mind, just not tracking my workouts, not tracking my meals. And my progress showed a lack thereof because I didn't plan, because I didn't actually have a plan in place, a training regimen in place, which is what I'm going to give you guys today. So the first thing you have to do when it comes to putting a split together, putting a training regimen together, is asking yourself, how many days a week do you want to train? Okay. So I recommend to you guys to train 5 times a week and hit each muscle group 2 times a week. That is the best training regimen and split, in my opinion, just on a macro level, because you're hitting each muscle group twice a week, so your muscles are going to be balanced, right? You're getting 2 days of recovery a week, so you're getting that rest and recovery so your muscles can grow back stronger. And additionally, you are just having a plan in place and it's easy and repeatable, and your muscles aren't going to get too sore. And it's good if you're a beginner, if you're an intermediate, or you're an advanced lifter. Now, if you're a super beginner, I wouldn't even recommend 5 days a week, probably like 3 days a week. But if you have trained a little bit, you kind of know what you're doing, you can go 5 days a week, right? You're getting those 2 days of rest and you're hitting each muscle group 2 times a week, which is so essential and so important, okay? And I know a lot of you guys are like, how can I hit each muscle group twice a week if I'm only going 2 times, if I'm only going 5 times a week? And I'm gonna break down how to do that in this video today. The most important and the most fruitful day, in my opinion, is going to be chest and back. And we're gonna hit this twice a week, and specifically on Mondays and Friday. Now, if you were doing a 6 day a week split like myself, you would be doing this every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, but that is a lie. Unless you're a super advanced lifter, I really don't recommend that for you guys. And even for me, that puts a lot of stress and strain on my body. And sometimes I feel like I am overtraining, right? But I'm only doing that for a small, short period of time so I can build up a lot of muscle right before summer, okay? So I would recommend you guys do chest and back every Monday and every Friday. And then while you're in your workouts, alternate between the two. So you would do one chest exercise, then do a back exercise. One chest exercise and then do a back exercise, right? A lot of people, they really like the push pull leg split, but having that push and pull together right next to each other and alternating between the two actually gives your muscles a different stimuli, which is going to help produce more aesthetic physique. Okay. We want to be doing training that is a little bit different from everybody else because we want a different result. How many people do you go into the gym and you see and you look at them and they look aesthetic, they look tan, they look jacked? Not many people, right? So if you want to have a different result from many people, you got to do something different. And this is how I differentiate from a lot of people, right? A lot of people, they go into the gym, they do a push pull legs and they do the same exercises every single day and they don't ever switch it up and they don't ever do any like isolating movements. And we're going to break that stuff down too. But you have to do a little bit of different things in order to get an optimal result, in order to get a result that is different from everybody else. Okay. So this is kind of where I differentiate and kind of go off the beaten path, is that I do chest and back. Okay. Because it gives a different stimuli. When you are hitting push and pull exercises together in one workout, it forces your muscles to grow in a different type of way, okay? And that way is for aesthetics, okay? So we want to be hitting chest and back every single Monday and every single Friday, and then alternating between the two during your workout. Now that you know when you are going to be training chest and back every single week, the next muscle groups that I want you guys to be hitting every single week, 2 times a week, is going to be shoulders and arms. And what you're going to do for this is hit it every Tuesday and Saturday, right? And when it comes to shoulders and arms, obviously you want to be training your shoulders, you want to be training your triceps, and you want to be training your biceps. But additionally, you want to have some forearm work in there too, and some isolated forearm work to really grow your forearms. If your forearms are bigger, your arms are going to look bigger as a whole. And additionally, when you are hitting shoulders and arms, you really want to put an emphasis on your delts and your triceps, right? And the reason why you want to put an emphasis on these two muscle groups is because you want to have that Dorito V taper look. And how you get that Dorito V taper shredded physique is through having a wide shoulder and a wide chest cage, and then additionally having about a 1.6 to 1 shoulder to waist ratio, right? So you want to be focusing on getting wider shoulders, right? Having a broad shoulder and chest cage. And you do that through focusing on your rear and anterior delts, okay? And the other thing you guys want to pay attention to is hitting triceps, right? A lot of people, they have no idea that triceps actually make up 66% of your arm in total. And so a lot of people, they go into the gym and they just do biceps, they do biceps, they do biceps, but their tricep makes up more of their arm than their bicep by 2/3. Okay, so you want to be putting more of an emphasis on these two right here, as well as your forearms. Make sure you just add in one forearm exercise every shoulder and arm day just to get that stimulus going a little bit, right? Obviously, you want to hit biceps and you want to train biceps and you want to do some isolated movements for biceps, but they are not the end all be all. Your triceps really add that definition. They really add that size and that length to your muscles, okay? So you want to have bigger arms, and you do that through growing your triceps, right? Another thing is that you want to have bigger shoulders, and you do that through growing your anterior and posterior delts. And then, fuck. And if you want to have bigger shoulders, you do that through growing your delts, okay? And there are some specific exercises we're going to break down in the next portion about shoulders and arms that can really, really grow your delts and then really, really grow your triceps to have that aesthetic looking physique, right? This is such a key and instrumental part of having an aesthetic physique because your shoulders are really going to make up that 1.6 to 1 ratio. And then also, obviously, arms is just always a classic aesthetic looking body part, right? And so as a man, you want to be focusing on this. You want to be hitting this 2 times a week. And this Saturday is actually going to be overlapping with one of the leg days on Saturday. So we're going to talk about how to work around that to make sure you're still hitting each muscle group 2 times every single week. Now we're going to talk about everybody's favorite leg day. Legs should be your favorite because legs is what is going to increase your testosterone levels. And if your testosterone is high, you are going to look more aesthetic because you are going to be able to build muscle and burn fat way quicker than the average person. So this is why we are hitting legs 2 times a week. We want to increase our testosterone levels so we can be more aesthetic, so we can be more jacked, so we can be more healthy, so we can work harder, so we can do more, okay? These are all essential things for you to do as a man, and it really comes from hitting legs 2 times a week, okay? So every Wednesday and every Saturday, we are going to be going to hit legs. And you typically want to just do about 4 to 5 exercises when it comes to legs, but you really want to be pushing yourself and going hard, right? When you are hitting legs, not only are you using and working the biggest muscles in your body, but additionally, you are forcing your endocrine system to work harder, which is going to produce more testosterone, okay? So when you are hitting legs, you want to go hard, but additionally, you want to be hitting it 2 times a week. There's so many guys I talk to who hit legs once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, once a month, just barely hitting it at all, right? And you are missing out on so many levels of testosterone gains from not hitting legs, okay? So this is why we're going to hit them 2 times a week. And I know on the Saturday you have some overlap with the shoulders and arms, but that's okay. Most people, they have a little bit more time to work out on a Saturday. And when you are going to do the leg day on a Saturday with the shoulders and arms and triceps, what you want to do is pick about 3 to 4 legs exercises and then 3 to 4 shoulders and arms exercises, and then just combine the two and you'll still have a workout of about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes at the most, okay? So every Saturday, in order for us to get those 2 times a week, in order for us to hit each muscle group 2 times a week, we got to be having one day with some overlap, and Saturday is just a day, okay? And then additionally, what you want to be doing is make sure you guys are getting rest on Thursday and Sunday. Now, I don't recommend you guys really do a lot of movement and a lot of stuff on Thursday and Sunday, but if it helps you and you want to, you can go to the gym, do a little walk, do a little light stretching, do a little mobility, and that's it, right? You should really not be doing any type of lifting or any type of heavy movement at all. You should be just going in there, stretching, foam rolling, and then I recommend you guys take one day completely off the gym. Don't even go, don't even show up on Sunday. Let your body rest completely, okay? So this is the exact split I want you guys to do every single week, and this is the split for the aesthetic training regimen, okay? Hitting each muscle group twice a week, going to the gym 5 times a week. You are going to be looking jacked. You are going to be looking healthy. You're going to have optimal time to rest and recover, which is going to be key for aesthetics, which is also going to be key for your testosterone levels. We don't want to be overtraining, but we want to be training in that sweet spot in that right amount to really boost our testosterone levels, and that comes through hitting it 5 times a week. Now you know how many days a week you should be training. Now you know what muscle groups you should be hitting every time you step into the gym. What we're going to discuss now is the type of exercises you are going to be doing every single day when you step into the gym, right? A lot of you guys, you are just doing the traditional bodybuilding kind of lifting regimen, and it's not really giving you the results that you want to see. And so what you should do is you should switch it up and you should focus on doing the aesthetic training regimen and the exercises that come with actually building an aesthetic physique, okay? So there are certain muscle groups that you need to be prioritizing and focusing on when it comes to building your aesthetic physique. And that is going to be your upper chest, having a wider back, shoulders, obviously arms, forearms, and abs, okay? These are all things that you guys should be prioritizing and focusing on every single week in order to build that aesthetic physique. One thing I forgot to mention now that I just said it was that on your chest and back days, I want you guys to be hitting abs, and I'll throw in a few exercises for you guys to do at the end of those days as well, okay? But when it comes to chest and back, we want to prioritize having a bigger upper chest and having a wide back, okay? And how you do that is through these exercises right here. The very first and the best one that I've been doing recently is going to be the incline dumbbell bench. And I do it pretty heavily, and I do about 6 to 8 reps for about 2 to 3 sets, okay? So this is what you guys should be doing every single chest day is a heavy incline dumbbell bench for about 6 to 8 reps. This is going to be the best exercise when it comes to isolating your upper chest and actually growing your upper chest. If you want to have a bigger and better upper chest, hit incline dumbbell bench, okay? This is one of the main exercises you should be doing. And how you want to do this is you want to grab about, I don't know, 60% of your 1 rep max, 50%. Do a little warm up first, right? Get the form down, understand what you're doing. I'll make a video too. I'll post a video as well. But additionally, after that, what you want to be doing is about 80 to 90%, about 75 to 80 of your 1 rep max, and then do that for 6 to 8 reps, right? You might not know what your 1 rep max is, but after doing like a lightweight, you can probably figure out what you can go to from there. So this is one I recommend you guys to hit every single chest and back day. Now, when it comes to this, this is only about 5 or 6 exercises, and you're going to get bored of just doing the same ones every single day. So what I recommend to you guys is figure out 1 or 2 exercises that you like when it comes to chest and back, and do those after you do these, right? Prioritize these ones, but if there are some exercises you like, do those too, right? You should be having fun in the gym, and that comes with doing some things that you like. It might be a little different, it might be a little weird, right? Have these fundamentals as your baseline, but then add some things that you like in there too, right? Another fundamental that you should have as your baseline is the wide lateral pull down. It's going to be the best thing for your back and building that wide back, right? When it comes to having the 1.6 to 1 shoulder to waist ratio, that comes with having a wide back. That comes with having a masculine back. And how you do that is through doing wide lateral pull downs, okay? So everybody's seen this exercise. Everybody's done this exercise. If you don't know how to do it, you can do a quick little YouTube search, and I can also probably throw a video in there too. But all you are doing is literally pulling down a bar and stretching your back, just like that. That's all you're doing, right? Every time you do this, you are getting a wider back, okay? And that's what we want to be focusing on when it comes to the aesthetic physique. If you want to be able to frame mog people, then hit wide lat pull down. Another one that you can do to really emphasize your back and do more of an isolation movement is going to be the 1 arm cable row. A very big and important thing when it comes to developing an aesthetic physique is hitting things and muscle groups for isolation, right? We want to hit certain muscle groups, but then we want to isolate those muscle groups through the movements that we're doing. When you isolate your muscle groups and do slow, steady contractions when you are working out, so you are going down slow. So on the eccentric, you're going about 3 seconds and then exploding for 1 second on the concentric. That is what you want to be doing when you are training and when you are working out, right? You see so many people in the gym, they're just going fast, they're going hard, but they're not actually growing the muscle because it's getting no stimulus, right? The muscle doesn't care about how hard you go. The muscle doesn't care about how much weight, doesn't care about how fast, right? It cares about how much stress and strain you are actually putting on it. And that comes through having a slow eccentric and then exploding on the concentric. And the one arm cable row is such a good exercise to do to be able to do this because you are isolating your back, but then additionally, you can really focus on having that slow eccentric and then exploding on the concentric and getting that stretch. Stretch and isolation is how you get the aesthetic physique, and we're gonna do that through these exercises. And one of the best exercises for stretch and isolation is going to be the one arm cable row. Another exercise that's great for stretch and isolation is gonna be chest fly, specifically high to low. I apologize, I'm talking very fast, coming at you guys with a lot of information, but just stick with me here, okay? So chest fly high to low is gonna be so good for, again, hitting that upper chest, but then getting that really big stretch and that isolating movement of your upper chest. That is what building the aesthetic physique is really all about, is getting those deep and wide stretches, but then also isolating certain muscle groups that are aesthetic, right? Certain muscle groups that are aesthetic are the ones that I broke down, having the wide back, having the upper chest, shoulders, arms, and we want to focus on isolating and stretching those muscle groups so they can grow at a higher rate. Now, when it comes to shoulders and arms, you again want to be focusing on those isolating and stretching movements, but additionally, we want to be focusing on muscle groups and things that are going to Now, when it comes to shoulders and arms, we want to be really focusing on those isolating and stretching movements, but we also want to be focusing on things that are going to accentuate that 1.6 to 1 shoulder to waist ratio. And that is what we're going to be focusing on when it comes to certain exercises for shoulder and arm day. And the very first one that I think is great and just an easy one, something that is low risk, high reward, is going to be the plate loaded shoulder press, right? Every time you go to the gym, you should be focusing on what is going to be high reward and low risk, right? If you're not training, if you're not playing a sport, if you're not doing a bodybuilding competition, you don't really want to be going into the gym and risking injury. You want to be having exercises that are high risk, or sorry, high reward and low risk. You don't want to be going in there doing a bunch of exercises that might get you injured and then you actually get injured, but you're not actually playing a sport or doing anything really, really competitive, then you fucked up, right? So you want to focusing on doing stuff that is going to give you a high reward and low risk. And I think plate loaded shoulder press is one of the best ones for shoulders, right? A lot of people, a lot of guys in particular, have shoulder injuries from overworking their shoulders and for doing exercises like bench press and different things like that that are just putting too much stress and strain on their shoulders and then they get hurt, right? And so plate loaded shoulder press is one of the better ones you can do to have a little bit of a less of a risk of injury, okay? So start with that one on your shoulder and arm days because it's really something that you can put a lot of weight on, put a lot of stress on, but low risk of injury, okay? So that is what I would recommend you starting out with. From there, I would recommend you guys going into the V-bar tricep pushdown. Again, remember how triceps make up 66% of your arm? So you really, really want to be focusing on your triceps. I really love the V-bar tricep pushdown when it comes to working my triceps because I feel like it's just an easy exercise. You can whip. I really love the V-bar tricep pushdown because you can put a lot of weight on there and you can really, really focus on accentuating your triceps and isolating your triceps as well. Okay, so this is one I highly recommend you guys to do every single shoulder and arm day because it's just an easy one. It's a fundamental one and it's going to be one that is going to grow your arms. Okay, so focus on doing this. And when you are doing this, make sure you're not going up too high because if you go up too high, you're going to end up working your forearms, working your biceps, and you want to really be focusing on going from here to here, right? Getting that squeeze, getting that stretch, squeeze and stretch, right? We want to be focusing on isolating and stretching movements, and V-bar tricep pushdown is one of the best ones to really isolate your triceps, but then also to get a good stretch, but put on a lot of weight too at the same time with low risk of injury. Okay, so V-bar tricep pushdown, it's really the main tricep one I have in here. Another one you guys can do is skull crushers to get a little bit of a different tricep head worked in there as well, but highly recommend you guys starting out with V-bar tricep pushdown. Again, I wanted to just lay out the fundamentals for the aesthetic training regimen and then have you guys throw in one or two exercises that you really like to do in order to keep yourself happy and keep yourself having fun when you're in the gym, okay? Because that's what it's about. It's about having fun and then getting and looking aesthetic and looking jacked, okay? Next thing is going to be the incline alternating dumbbell curl. Again, we are focusing on the stretching and the isolating movements. An incline dumbbell alternating curl is a killer for isolating your bicep, but then also getting that stretch. You want to have a great stretch on your biceps on the way down, and you do that through the incline dumbbell alternating curl. You alternate one after the other, and then that is where that isolating movement is coming for the bicep. Okay, so when it comes to your bicep, this is really the best one that I can recommend for you guys. Obviously, preacher curl is a really good one too. Dumbbell preacher curl, we're going to talk about that. But when it comes to isolating and really, really stretching your arm and doing something with a little bit of higher weight to have more stimulus for your bicep, incline dumbbell alternating curl is one of the best ones you can do for your bicep. Okay. Another one that is going to be so great for your shoulders and particularly hitting both your delt and your trap muscles a little bit too, hitting up here, hitting right here, is going to be your cable lat raises. Okay. So all you're going to do is take a cable and just go up and down, just like that, up and down. And you really want to focus on this stretch on the way up and then keeping your chest and neck up when you do exercise. When I started to film myself in the gym, I noticed that my chest, my neck was always coming down, and that was taken away from my workouts. Okay. So when you are doing these exercises, keep your neck up, keep your face forward, and don't go down. This is one of the best things that I started to do when I was doing my lateral raise, and it really started working my tricep and my delt way more. And I felt that isolating in that stretch. Again, that is what we are going for when it comes to the aesthetic training regimen. And this cable lateral raise is so, so good when it comes to getting that isolating, getting that stretching movement, and really, really focusing on hitting multiple areas of your shoulder, right? When you're on the way up, you are hitting this delt right here. And then when you're coming on the way down, you are getting some of that trap right there, okay? So one of the best shoulder exercises, really, really my favorite one, right? This is a good one for just putting on weight, high reward, low risk, but this is a good one for working multiple areas of your shoulder with one exercise and getting that real isolating and stretching movement. That is really how your shoulders and your muscles are going to grow through that isolating and stretching movement. Cable lateral raise, one of the best ones to do so for your shoulders, okay? Next thing is going to be that dumbbell preacher curl, supersetting with a wrist curl. This is basically just like a forearm wrist curl, just like that. And then you want to be doing the dumbbell preacher curl seated and then just one arm at a time. Okay. And the reason why you want to do that instead of doing like an actual barbell is because you get more focus, you get more isolating on that one bicep, and you get such a good stretch from doing that, right? Obviously, you're still going to get a stretch from doing a barbell, but I really think a dumbbell is better for getting that real isolating on there and having more of a focus on that stimuli on that bicep right there. So now when it comes to your legs, you really just want to focus on having the fundamentals down and doing the basic exercise, right? We want to be hitting legs twice a week, and we just want to have the fundamentals and the basics down. But also you can incorporate and implement some more athletic movements when it comes to hitting legs, okay? So something that I do is that I'll do a barbell back squat every single leg day. And then I'll sometimes, instead of doing a barbell back squat, I'll do a hack squat instead. So you can change those two interchange them out, whichever days you want to do. On Wednesday, I'll do barbell back. Saturday, I'll do a hack squat, right? Another thing that I do, and I keep it simple, and my leg days are pretty simple, pretty basic. And so you can switch out some things if you'd like, but it's really just about the fundamentals when it comes to hitting your legs, right? We're not emphasizing legs too much. We don't want to have, the craziest, biggest legs. We want to be hitting legs in there going hard. So we get that testosterone increase. And so we have balanced legs and a balanced full physique. Okay. So another thing you can do to have balanced legs is focus on doing Bulgarian split squats. These are going to be hard. These are going to be difficult. These are going to be challenging. They're going to focus on your balance. They're going to focus on your stability. They're going to focus on developing your quad and really, really make sure you are sitting into it, developing your glutes. Great exercise for your legs overall, just an athletic exercise, a difficult exercise. Another one that I do that is more athletic and focusing on that balance and stability is going to be a kettlebell RDL. It's basically a one leg RDL while your left foot is up and you are just focusing on working your hamstring, right? And you're really getting that balance and stability, which is a different type of stimulus than you're actually used to, right? These two exercises are something that I do for most of my leg days, and they're really great because they focus on that balance, they focus on that stability, and they really force you to work harder than typically doing your leg curls, your leg extensions, just easy exercises that you sit on a machine and do, right? Those are good, but they aren't the best. And I think these two are better for your quads and for your hamstrings because they are really focusing on a different type of stretch and more balance, more stability, more athletic movements, which your body needs in order to maintain its ability to be an athlete. You want to be an athlete for your whole life, and you do that through developing an aesthetic physique. And one of the best ways to do that is by doing athletic leg movements like Bulgarian split squats, kettlebell RDLs. You can do things like hang cleans, you can do walking lunges, those are great too. Some other things you can do, and these are just basic ones. If you're new to the gym, I would recommend you start out here, just leg extensions, leg curls, and then eventually move your way up to the Bulgarian split squats, the kettlebell RDLs, more balance, more stability, walking lunges, cleans, things like that. So you really, really get those athletic movements, more balance, more stability. Okay. So these is everything you guys need to do for getting an aesthetic physique. This is the entire training regimen, all the exercises, the split, 5 days a week, 2 times a week, the basic fundamental exercises that you should be doing every time into the gym.